We continue now at the top of Daf Mem Vav Amud Beis in Meseches Shabbos. This is Shabbos Daf 46b. This Amud is sponsored by Rabbi Mike and Selena Ravinsky. Thank you for your sponsorship. If you would like to sponsor an Amud or a Daf, please see the description box below for details. The Gemara here is in the middle of a discussion between Rava and Rav Avia. The story was that Rav Avia had come into Rava's house and his feet were muddy, and Rava got upset, so Rava thought that he would ask him some questions to try to embarrass him in halacha, and Rav Avia now was able to respond, and he explained that there's a difference between pebbles and things that are kalim but have no use, and he brings a brisa to prove that that is true. The brisa says, Hashirim, if you have bracelets, v'hanizamim, nose rings, v'atabos, and rings, harein kechol ha-kalim hanitolim b'chatzir. They're like any other kalim which can be moved around in the chatzir. The Amar Ula, and Ula said, Matam, what's the reason? Hoel v'ika toras kli oleh, since it has a toras kli. Hachanami, so that's what Rav Avia says to Rava. In this case as well, when you're talking about this, this was talking about a candle that went out, even though it's mos, even though it's disgusting, still it's not considered a muksa. It has some limited use. Hoel v'ika toras kli oleh, since it has a toras kli, and it has some limited use, you can use it to cover up utensils, as we said on the previous Amud. Therefore, it is not considered to be muksa here. Rashi explains, Harein kekol ha-kalim, avavisha aser lotzes ben. What we're talking about here is these. What's the problem with this jewelry in the first place? So the halacha is it's aser to go out with this jewelry l'rishus harabim into rishus harabim. Kedamrin meperik b'mei isha yotza gezerah dilma shalfa mechavia. We're actually afraid these are nice pieces of jewelry. We're afraid she might take it off and show it to somebody. It's going to end up being a situation of carrying in rishus harabim. But in any case, the brisa said miu toras kli alei and umutar l'tatlan. It's still considered a toras kli. It's still considered a kli. You're allowed to move it around. Shalo kederech malbush, as long as you're not doing it in the way that you normally wear the item. So in any case, this was Rav Avia's response to Rava. And Amar Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, so Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak said about this, Brich Rachmana de Lochsife Rava Rav Avia. Baruch Hashem that Rava was not able to embarrass, to shame Rav Avia. The Gemara here now continues, Rami le Abaya le Rabba. So Abaya had the following contradiction for Rabba. Tanya, we learned in a brisa, Mosar Hashemen Shabener v'Shabekara Aser. You have the leftover oil in a candle or in the plate, it is Aser. But Rabbi Shimon matir, but Rabbi Shimon says it's okay. Alma Rabbi Shimon lesle muksa. You see from this brisa that according to Rabbi Shimon, there's no issue of muksa. Uraminu, so we have a contradiction. Rabbi Shimon says, Kol she'in mumo nikor me'erev yantiv. If you have an animal which is a bechor, now the halacha is if a bechor gets a mum, now it can be eaten by anybody. Now it's essentially chulin. So the halacha is if the blemish was not recognized me'erev yantiv, ein zeh min hamuchan. It's not considered to be min hamuchan. It's not considered to be prepared for yantiv. It's still considered to be muksa. Didn't we just say that Rabbi Shimon does not hold a muksa? So the Gemara answers, Hachi Ashta. What kind of comparison is this? Hasam over there, Adam Yoshev u'metzape masai tich benero. When people have candles that are lit, the person's waiting around, when is this candle going to go out? And he's ready and prepared for that eventuality, and he's going to carry around the candle once it goes out. Hacha, but over here, Adam Yoshev u'metzape masai yipo bo mum. Do you think a person is waiting around when this animal is going to get a mum? Meimar Amar mi Yemar denafel beimuma. He's certainly saying to himself, who says there's going to be a mum? V'yimtim tzalomer denafel beimuma. And even if there is a mum, mi Yemar denafel beimum kavua. Who says it's going to be a mum kavua, which allows the animal? V'yimtim tzalomer denafel beimum kavua. And even if it is a mum kavua, mi Yemar demizdakek lechacham. Who says the guy's going to find a chacham who's going to be able to be matir this animal? Rashi here explains. Mumo nikar gabe bechor kai. We're talking here about bechor. Mi yemar demizdakek lechacham sheyimtza chacham sheyizkak lo biyantiv liros imum kavu huolo. Are you going to find a chacham on yantiv who's going to look at this and be able to determine is this a mum kavu or not? Is this a permissible item or not? So that's the whole question over here. So the Gemara says, therefore, in that particular case, even Rabbi Shimon is moda that it is muksa. The Gemara now says, Mesiv Rami Bar Chama. So Rami Bar Chama asked, there's a halacha mefirin nedarim b'Shabbos l'tzorech haShabbos. A person is allowed to be mefer neder. A husband can annul the vow of his wife on Shabbos if it is for the purpose of Shabbos. Rashi here explains. Mefir nedarim baal ishto, a husband to his wife. V'nishal nedarim. I skipped that. It was in the brackets. The reason why I skipped that, normally you don't skip the brackets, but it's going to be mentioned anyways in a few lines. But nishal nedarim meant lechacham le'ateron. Let's say you're allowed to ask if a person makes a neder, the person can go to a chacham, and the chacham can be matir the neder. Shein litzorech Shabbos. If it's litzorech Shabbos, could go neder shelo yochal hayom. Let's say a person made a neder, he's not going to eat today. Now it's tzorech Shabbos, he needs to eat. So the halach is you can be made for the neder. So the Gemara asks the same question. This is Rami Bar Chama's question. V'amai, why? Lema mi'emer d'mizdaka global. We should say the same logic we just said before by the mum. Just like we said before, who says the chacham is going to determine that this is a mum kavua? Who says the husband is going to decide that he wants to be made for the neder? You don't know what's going to happen. So therefore, according to this logic, why are we allowing mefir nadarim b'Shabbos? Why are we not just mefir? Why are we allowing her to now eat that food? Rashi says here, why is she allowed to eat? Even if the husband did permit it, it's a problem of muksa. She already turned her intention away from this food. She said to herself, who says the husband's going to be made for the neder? So according to that, why are we suddenly we're suddenly allowing that the woman can eat the food because she can assume that maybe her husband's going to be made for the neder? We don't say that by the case of the mum. So the Gemara answers, Hasam kid Rav Pinchas Mishmei de Rava. Over there, it follows Rav Pinchas in the name of Rava. Damar Rav Pinchas Mishmei de Rava, because Rav Pinchas said in the name of Rava, Kol hanoderes al das bala hinoderes. This is a principle. Anytime a woman makes a neder, she's making the neder on the intentions and on the knowledge, understanding of her husband. Meaning, she has no idea what's going to happen. So she's always thinking, the husband may or may not agree. Rashi explains, al das bala al manas im yirtzabal. She's always making the neder if the husband agrees to it. She's relying on that. The mizdaka glabiyom shamla, that when he hears about it, maybe he's going to decide to be made for the neder. So she always has that in mind. So it's different than the case of the mum. Tashma will bring another proof, a similar proof. Nishalin l'nedarim shel tzarach haShabbos b'Shabbos. You're allowed to ask a chacham to be mater neder on Shabbos for Shabbos. The exact same question. V'amai lema mi emer the mizdaka glei chacham. Who says the chacham is going to agree to be mater the neder again? So the Gemara says, Hasam over there, ilam mizdaka glei chacham sagila b'gimel hadyotos. The halacha is that you're allowed to go to gimel hadyotos to 3 simple people, and they can also be mater neder. So therefore it's okay. But hacha over here, mi'emer the mizdaka glei chacham. When it comes to the situation of the mum, you don't know that the chacham is going to be matir. The Gemara now continues. Rami le Abaye Rav Yosef. Abaye said the following contradiction in front of Rav Yosef. Mi Amar Rav Shimon. Kavsa mutter l'taltala. Did Rav Shimon really say when the flame is extinguished, you can move it around? Kavsa in, lo kavsa lo. That only if it's extinguished and not if the flame is still burning. My time, what's the reason? Dilma bahad did not get lo kavsa, because the whole suspicion is maybe if he's carrying around the candle while it's burning, he's going to be over on the Isser Dorais of extinguishing the flame. So now Abai asks Rav Yosef, why are we worried that he might extinguish the flame? Hashamin and Leila Rabbi Shimon, didn't we already hear that Rabbi Shimon said, the Amr that he said, Davar Shein Miskavin mutter. The halacha is that Davar Shein Miskavin is mutter. The halacha is if you're doing something without intention of doing it, it's mutter. So in this case, let the person carry around the candle while it is lit, and if unintentionally it puts out the candle, Rabbi Shimon holds Davar Shein Miskavin is mutter. The Tanya, we learned in a brayso. Rabbi Shimon Rabbi Shimon says, Gorer Adam Kisei Mita V'Safsel Uvilvaj Le'Eskavin Lasos Chartz. A person's allowed to drag a chair or a bed or a bench across the ground as long as he doesn't have kavana to make a ditch. So you see that even though he's making a ditch, which is plowing, it's mutter because it's a davar shtei miskavin. So the Gemara answers, Kol hecha, this is really the answer again of Rav Yosef. Kol hecha dechi mechavin iko isura doraisa. That the principle is as follows. Anytime where if the person would have kavana, there would be an isur doraisa, kilo mechavin gazer Rabbi Shimon midrabanan. So then when you don't have intention, Rabbi Shimon actually would prohibit it as an isur midrabanan. In other words, in the case of extinguishing the flame, you have a lit candle. If a person would intentionally extinguish a flame, that's an isur doraisa. So therefore, unintentionally, Rabbi Shimon he doesn't say it's mutter, he would say it's asur midrabanan. However, but if you're in a situation where there would only be an Isser D'Rabbanan when you have intention, and Rashi explains why is it only an Isser D'Rabbanan if you have intention. So Rashi says, Yisur D'Oraisa Kiboy Av Malachu, putting out, extinguishing a flame, that's an Av Malacha. Charetz, but by a ditch, Leko Yisur D'Oraisa, that's not an Yisur D'Oraisa. Techofer Kila Achar Yadhu, it's like digging or plowing in a backhanded manner. Techofer, Amar L'Kamon, Tolda D'Chorish, digging is considered a tolda of plowing, V'chayiv, and it's Chayiv, Hanimi L'Chofer Kedarko. That's if you do it in the normal manner, but more of a Kadam with the proper equipment. But if you don't do it with the proper equipment, like in this case where you're plowing essentially with a bed or a bench or something like that, that's only an Isur D'Rabbanan. So Kol Heichad Dechi Mechavin Iko Isur D'Rabbanan Kilo Mechavin Shori Rabbi Shimon L'Chatchila. Anytime where if you would have intention, it would just be an Isur D'Rabbanan. So without intention, then Rabbi Shimon says it's Mutar L'Chatchila. So the Gemara questions this answer. Mesiv Rava asks, Mochrei ksus mochrin kedarkon uvilvad shlo yiskavin bechamim mipnei hachama uvegeshamim mipnei hageshamim. Let's say people are selling clothing, and these clothing have shatnez in them. They're allowed to sell them in the normal manner. They can even wear the clothing as long as they don't have kavana that they're using the clothing in the sun to protect themselves from the sun, or in the rain to protect themselves from the rain. In other words, as long as it's a davar she'eino miskavin, it's mutter. V'atznuin mafshilin b'makal achorin. But the people who are extra strict, the tznuin, they would actually put them on a staff, on a stick, which they put over their shoulder. They wouldn't want to wear these items of clothing. So the Gemara says, but over here, if they had a kavana for the rain or the sun, it would be an isur daraisa. Yet we see that Rav Shimon says it's mutter lechatchila, because it's a davar she'eino miskavin. So this distinction that you're making, that when it's an isur doraisa, when you have kavana, a davar she'eino miskavin would be asur, it's not true. Davar she'eino miskavin is mutter in this case. Ela amar Rava, rather Rava answers, and we'll continue with Rava's answer on Daf Mem Zayin Amar Aleph in the next video.